Hi everyone, today's tutorial is on solving inequalities when you need to multiply or divide by a negative number. So there's a really special rule you need to know when you're multiplying or dividing both sides of the equation by a negative number when solving an inequality. So here it is. The rule is when you multiply or divide by a negative number when solving an inequality, you must switch the inequality sign. So what exactly does that mean? I'm about to show you. If you have negative 2x is less than 12, you know to solve this, I need to isolate x and what's with it times negative 2. So I need to divide both sides by negative 2 to isolate x. And since I am dividing both sides by a negative 2, dividing both sides by a negative, I'm going to switch my inequality sign from a less than to a greater than. So I end up with x is greater than negative 6. So let's explore this for a minute. Let's say for a second I had just left it at x is less than negative 6, which we know is not right. Let's pick a number less than negative 6. Let's do negative 10 just because it's a nice, easy, round one to substitute back in here. So I'm going to go with negative 10 is less than negative 6. Let's substitute it back in here. A negative 10, negative 2 times negative 10 is 20, and you can see that doesn't work. That gives us a non-solution. So leaving the sign as a less than would not work for us. So whenever you multiply or divide by a negative, you actually end up with whatever's on the right of the equation going from a positive number to a negative number, and therefore that messes up your solution if you don't switch your sign from a less than to a greater than. So actually the solutions to this inequality are anything greater than negative 6. So let's say we went with 0. 0 is greater than negative 6. So negative 2 times 0 is 0, and yeah, 0 is less than 12. So that works. So we have to switch the sign. If you don't switch the sign, you get the non-solutions does not work. Let's try another one. Here we have x divided by negative 3 is greater than 10. So we need to multiply both sides by negative 3. Ding, ding, ding. Multiplying both sides by a negative. Multiply or dividing both sides by negatives should set off that ding, ding, ding alarm bell. Automatically switch your sign. So we get x is less than negative 30. And so all numbers less than negative 30 would make this inequality true. Let's try a nice easy round one. Let's go negative 33. Negative 33 divided by negative 3 is 11, and 11 is greater than 10. It works. Okay? So if we hadn't switched the sign and we said x is greater than negative 30, and say we used negative 27, negative 27 divided by negative 3 is 9, and 9 is not greater than 10. It doesn't work. So you have to switch the sign to get all the solutions that work. Okay, so here's a two-step one. Subtract 2 from both sides. And we get negative 4x is less than or equal to 8. But now we need to divide both sides by negative 4. And an alarm bell should be going off because we're dividing both sides by a negative number. Switch your sign. I like to do it right away as soon as I notice I'm doing that. And x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So all numbers greater than or equal to negative 2 should make this inequality work. And I'm going to go with 0, nice easy one to check. It's greater than or equal to negative 2. So negative 4 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, and 2 is definitely less than or equal to 10, so it works. Last example here. Negative 1/2 x minus 10 is less than or equal to 6, so I need to add 10 to both sides. Negative 1/2 x is less than or equal to 16. I need to divide both sides by negative 1/2. I'm dividing both sides by a negative. I need to switch my sign. And x, dividing by a negative is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I end up with x is greater than or equal to negative 32. So all numbers greater than or equal to negative 32 should work. So I'll use negative 34 Nope, negative 34 is not greater than negative 32, so I'll use negative 30. So negative 30, if I substitute it back in here, I get 1/2 times negative 30 is 15. 15 minus 10 is 5, and 5 is less than or equal to 6, so it works. Okay, so hopefully you've got the rule down when I multiply or divide both sides, I should say both sides of an inequality by a negative number, I must switch my inequality sign. All right, that's the rule. I hope you all have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.